Hey, welcome back to the Future of Fitness podcast. I am your host, Eric Malzone, and this is episode number 35. I get to talk to Lisa Berman. She is what I would classify as a master trainer out of Corona Del Mar, California. And she really embodies what this whole show and this whole movement is about. She's been a one-on-one trainer for a very long time. She has very busy weeks. She trains up to 30 people per week. She has a strong referral network, but she feels the need now to take her business online and take it to the next level. And that's the process that she's going through now. And she's developing the Berman Method. So the Berman Method essentially stands on three pillars: mind, structure, and energy. And she'll tell you all about it and how she's doing it. And it's really interesting. And anytime I get to talk to somebody who has this much experience, spent this much time in the trenches, there's always nuggets that I get to pull out of it. And one of my favorite ones from this one was when she said, "Don't build your days around fear." I was like, whoa, that's great. And what does it mean? Well, in this reference, in this context, it means don't try to grab all the clients, right? Grab the clients that you know you should be working with, that you can do the most good for, and then refer the other ones to people who are a better fit. And I think that's really why she has this very, very strong referral network. She doesn't do any marketing. So yeah, without further ado, listen to this. It's Lisa Berman. She's great, and I hope you enjoy it. Everybody, welcome back. It's Eric with the Future of Fitness podcast. And today I have Lisa Berman. Welcome on the show, Lisa.
Hi, thank you.
So you and I had a good chance to talk before this, and I think as people understand what you're doing now, I think it'd be really interesting for people to know kind of what your path has been to get there, and all of the pieces that have now formed what you're up to now with the Berman Method and your new direction. So give us a brief history of where you've come from and where you are now.
So I've always been a physical person. I've always been a hands-on person. As a girl, I was a dancer who had orthopedic problems. And so I would say by the time I was 10, I was struggling with not dislocating. So I ended up by age 13 having the first of 4 reconstructive knee surgeries. That made me really have a love of orthopedics, and I learned that kinesiology was a real thing. And really, that's a whole thing, just studying movement. That's awesome. And I thought I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. And so I thought high school job, senior year, perfect thing, work in a gym. And then a real trainer walked in, and I realized, wait a minute, this is a real job. Like, I can help people be fit, and they don't have to be hurt first, and I can help them not get hurt. And so that's where being a trainer started for me. So I was first certified by the American Council on Exercise in 1991. People ask me, how did you become a trainer? Like, that's a real job. It was kind of a Hollywood thing then. So people asked, and a partner and I put together a training course to help people. It was like a 6-month thing to help people get certified. And then we hired the diamonds in our classes, and signed my first corporate lease at age 20, where we did our training. Yeah, I was just an ignorant entrepreneur, just following passion. And so that's where we did our trainings, and then we did some life and career management trainings. But back then, the gyms didn't know that this was a money-making thing, and to start charging trainers or in-housing them. And so we had agreements with clubs from Venice to San Clemente along the coast, and put our trainers in those facilities. And that's kind of how I started my first fitness business, and that was 1991, and I've been riding the wave since. Very hands-on trainer. So stretching, I've been doing that for 28 years, stretching people and myofascial work. The acupuncture or acupressure is something I've studied to a great extent. I would say my intuition guides my curiosity for science, and they just kind of go together. So Now I'm here. I have a studio that I'm rebranding painfully, and in Corona Del Mar, California, and it looks like a Pilates and bodywork studio.
Cool. Yeah, there's something interesting. What you said is, you're intuitive, but you're also science-based, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting combination, right? Explain to us a little bit more about how you meld those two, how you kind of use what you're innately feeling and seeing, and then combining that with science and how that works for you.
Yeah. So I, at a very young age, when I started working with people, I saw and knew things that were beyond my scope of knowledge, which I think that a lot of good trainers do. Like a young trainer just feels this passion and this fire inside and this drive to learn because they get it. And one of my teachers, one of my energy, it was like an energy system that I studied early on. She said to me, the things that you will take from me into your work will feel like the things that you already knew. And so, yet it was very technical. It wasn't hooey stuff. It was like, it was the meridians in the body and deep subsets of the meridians. But, you either get that stuff or you don't get that stuff, but it's not woo woo. It's measurable. It's what acupuncturists work on. It's, measurable by bioelectrical impedance. So the energy in our bodies aren't woo woo. And some of us are just a little bit more in touch with it. But it wasn't okay with me that I somehow just knew things that I couldn't explain. So that's what kind of drove my passion to continue studying. And then I thought I was going to the Rolf Institute because I became, I'm very biomechanical and very structural. And I thought that's where I was going. And my Rolfer directed me to Pilates in 1996, where I studied under Raela Sakowicz, which was a really blessing in disguise that that's who I landed with, and studied all the way through, everything I can with him, and still do his master reunion every year. And then I went to massage school. So now I'm studying Z Health for functional neurology. So it's kind of just always following the curve and trying to explain and keep knowledge.
Yeah. So what is that? What is Z Health and functional neurology? That's something that, I haven't been fully engaged with, and I'd like to know more because maybe it's something that I know a little bits of and I've never put it all together, So give us some in-depth on that.
So I learned about Z Health through Leslie Cordova, who I used to room with at conferences and stuff. And Z Health stands for, the Z is half of the double helix of the DNA chain. And so Dr. Cobb, that's his company. It's zhealth.net. And he is chiropractor by trade, but he practices not as, adjusting bones. And it's basically like in anatomy, we learned the homunculus monkey is, if you've heard of that, it's our proprioceptive map. It gets messed up when anything in our body that's stuck or not moving well, it'll mess everything up. So it's like traffic. If one street on the map is closed, there might be too much traffic on the next street. So like our brains work like that, our bodies work like that. So we have, a frozen shoulder is going to affect everything in our body, not just all of our other joints, but also, how our lungs function and everything. So Z Health, the DNA chain, we're hearing more and more about neuroplasticity, and that the body our DNA can be changed. We can change it. So, and, as trainers, more and more we're getting into functional movement and studying, like, where's it not going well? So in Z Health, there's R phase, is the rehabilitation. So they teach rehabilitation of movement at every joint. So there's a drill for every joint. I phase is to integrate the visual and vestibular system. The eyes and ears are like the compass on your dash that tells you, what direction to go in. And if our eyes and ears are messed up, so is our compass, our sense of where we're going. And then S phase is more sport movement. You learn a lot of I remember learning bone rhythm. Like everyone takes something different. Dr. Cobbs is always saying how's this going to affect your Monday morning practice? So everyone will take something different back to their studio. And so S phase for me was hugely about just seeing bone rhythm and how people move and directional changing and stuff like that. And then T was tissue work and more the therapeutic, which was very natural for me. I'm currently in their master trainer program, which is really grueling. And it's just, there's, learning the brain and how it works and our nervous system, and movement. So, and that's where my method, I'm working on build, I'm at a stage, I've been in the industry for a few minutes and I'm wanting to teach again. So I'm wanting to come back around and teach. I always want to do my time in the trenches, and that's why Todd Durkin's a great mentor for me, because it's one of the things that I love about him is he stays practicing. So some of us stop and teach. I'll always have my 15 to 20 sessions at least. And, doing what I do, but I want to teach. So I'm modularizing my method, which is blending all those things.
Yeah. So is that 15 to 20 sessions per week or per month?
Per week. Right now I'm at about 30.
Okay.
Which is hard. Yeah, it's hard because I have this studio. I've been here. April 2018 will be 2 years I've been in this new location, and trying to build a team and onboard and hire or interview, the whole interviewing and staffing. It's never been this hard. So to be honest, it's been challenging. And I think just maybe I'm getting pickier. Maybe it's more personal to me because I've always taken ownership, I believe, in every management position I've had, but this is, I don't know, it's been challenging.
Yeah. It definitely can be. I think, looking back at my career as a facility owner, if I was going to do one thing more of, as I would have really invested more in the people that I had hired and really focusing on getting people in the right spot. Right. Yeah. That's a big challenge. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of talent out there. It's just how do you bring them into, and who's going to be right for your system and what your vision is. And then, and making sure that they're doing the right things once you get them in. There's a lot of challenges there for sure. I'm curious because I never heard this. What is bone rhythm? What is that? Can you give us a practical example of what that is?
For one example, a squat. The top of the femur should go back as much as the bottom of the femur goes forward.
Okay.
And so just watching that. And so if you look at a person doing a squat, you can go deeper, but it needs to be in a balance so that you're not creating that pressure over the tibia. And, we know that in different ways, but when you start thinking of it like that in all of the body, you start to see where people have structural tendencies that are just going to be their thing they always have to work on, which becomes their stretching routine or, what they need to do when they feel this. And so, somebody has a really long femur, but a short torso. So not holding Dr. Cobbs to my description of it, because of course I take what I learned from him and putting my own, how I use it. But yeah.
So you have, obviously you put your time in the trenches, you're highly educated. Do you have when you start off a new client, do you have an assessment system, or is it something where you just start working with them and then you just intuitively see things and then a plan comes out of your head? How do you systemize that, or how does that work for you?
That's a great question. I would say I started out being very, long time ago, really great systems. And I'm very stubborn to change them because they work so well. I do have a very high referral network, but pretty much 98% of people that I meet with, I'm going to work with. It's why would I mess with that welcome process and meeting people process? So I do have, I'm stubborn. I guess this is what I'm getting at. I don't work with anybody before I spend an hour with them to see whether or not we want to work together. And I don't charge for that. So it's both of us investing our time and making sure that it's a fit. I'm dying at 30 sessions a week, and I'm grateful for that. I'm very humbly grateful for that, but I protect my time and my studio. There's so many places and there's so many professionals out there, and probably why I'm mostly referral is I refer a lot. So I'm always looking, and I don't want to just hog people up and have them not really be a fit for my space. I mean, I punch a hard day, and I want to feel like when I look at that day, I'm like, all right, I can do that. You know, it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of focus. A lot has to go right and be organized. But yeah, so that time that I spend with people, getting to know them, you know, most of the time we end up working together. And then my next session is still not a workout. So this is where I'm struggling. Like, at least people really want to get moving. And so where I've switched that one up is it's a 90-minute session that we spend half on assessment and half I get them moving. I do some hands-on stretching and working on them so that I can, that's like still intake as I'm working on them. And also teaching. Like, I feel like they don't have to be a trainer to learn about themselves. Like, if they know me for 10 sessions, I want to make sure when they leave with knowledge of themselves that they can take anywhere. So those first 2 sessions are me learning, them learning, seeing if it's a fit, and then I start to get like mental visuals of their patterns and taking notes. I do have a process for taking notes. I do a little nutrition intake. That's the biggest thing I think I want to revamp and add more to. That's maybe where it needs to, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, very life.
Because you have the most trainers have the issue of not being able to find clients to fill up their day, right? Yours is finding the right client, which I'm curious, was there a point in time, I'm sure when you were first getting started, you just took any client, right? Or was it always like that?
No, it was always like that. And okay. I don't know. And I would say to any trainers, like, I think, or any person in any profession, that don't build your days out of fear or lack. Like, if you really believe in what you're doing and you love it, find the other people who are good around you, have a referral network. Because I had amazing, like, Fortune 500 clients at age 20, and they taught me a lot. And so I had this amazing board of directors that were, I learned a lot, and you got to follow that passion, and you got to build the clientele and the business that you want. And if you're really focused on that, I believe if your heart every day is in that spot and you wake up, big part of that is don't assess it at night, because you should go to bed on empty. And my friend Josh Bowen just wrote the book To the Grave on Empty. And I love that. And you should go to bed on empty and feel like I gave it all. And you know what you need to do tomorrow, but you're excited about it. And you may not have the energy for it because you need to sleep well. But that, I think, no, I ignorantly was passionate and led by great mentors. I would say I was very, very lucky early on to have great mentors that taught me about life and career management. So
yeah, that's huge. I love that too, is don't plan things out of fear. That's a huge lesson. I'm going to get that on my desktop. So you mentioned something earlier before, how, and it was a great, and I hope I get this right, but heal to be strong, strong to be powerful. So tell us what that means to you and how you incorporate it into your practice.
So one of the best trainers I ever worked with was talking to me just like about like NASM stuff, like basic, like how to build strength. And it was like, you have to heal and correct the pattern. And then you have to build strength on that if you want to then build power. And the thing is, people just want to be powerful. They come and, can you make me powerful and pain-free? Well, there's some healing to do, and there's some strength to build on that. And then, power. And I think we're always in phases with that. But I think if anything, I was born to be, and I have struggled to own this word because it sounds weird, but I was born a healer, and I meet people on a lot of different planes in a lot of different ways, and it's healing, and we get stronger together. And then all of a sudden they're feeling powerful. And then sometimes they come in, we've been like really working hard, but they may need some grace that day, and it's okay. Or we really need to work on, oh my gosh, I noticed your ribs aren't moving the way they should. We need to work on some correction, and that's healing movement. So heal to be strong, strong to be powerful is my threes.
Yeah, so I got it right. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the future look like for you? What's the Berman Method? What's your vision now? What are you looking at?
I am feeling travel, which my coach in the Tadroki Mastermind, my coach Kelly Corsanti, who I love, when I told her, I didn't ask her. I told her I was opening the studio. She's like, what? I could like, this is okay. And she knows if I say I'm going to do something, I'm doing it. So she's like, this could be a little snag in your getting the Berman Method out there. And so I just had to do it. This is my home base. It's my lab. I need my people. I also need it as like proof that what I'm doing works. So I need to be teaching my people, and it needs to be profitable and working. And so that's what I've been working on the last year and a half. And I see, as soon as possible, I really want to get out there and teach. And when I travel, I'll book some special sessions with people that I'm meant to work with that need healing. So I'm excited about that, traveling, teaching.
What do you think? Can you give us some insight on what your curriculum will look like? Like what are all the factors that you're going to put into your special sauce?
So mind, one of the things I call it personality postures. To me, people's personality or their history or their psychology is like a specialized compensatory pattern to their structure. Like if they constantly, like the way people lean in, the way people do things, or when they were hurt and something happened emotionally, I believe that sits in the body. It goes with how we move. Sometimes those are our expressions that we must keep. They're like who we are. It's how we emote. We keep those. We celebrate those. We use those to inspire people. But the ones that are hurting us, we need to learn about. The ones that are keeping us trapped, we need to learn about. So that's part of my mind. It's kind of it's turning into 3 pillars. It was 8, but I've brought it into mind, structure, and energy. So the mind that's just one look at. Also some NLP, hypnosis, regression. I'm not trying to be a psychiatrist. I'm not trying to teach people to be. And I have some pillars built in to keep that appropriate to our industry and our scope of practice. Structure is structure. And from being a trainer, somebody that has my own orthopedic issues, that's had to learn to be strong physically, because I'm not born physically strong. I've had to work at that, and I have to work at it. So structure, taking it from like weight training, my dad was a bodybuilder, taught me, taking it from that and ballet to Pilates to being a hands-on therapist. Structure, hugely, yeah, I've got that into pillars, and I think they're good. I'm excited to share them. And then energy is not the hoo-hooey, like there is a spiritual element to it. We meet people at all levels, but it's the literal flow of energy, understanding that, and then how to make it flow better. So, and there's a lot of pillars built in all of that. So yeah, that's a look at the method.
That's awesome. I mean, it's very unique, to most of the things I've at least come across and I've been exposed to. And it sounds really, it just sounds interesting that you can really take a look at someone holistically and not just what their back squat numbers are, right?
Yeah,
and take them and bring them along on a journey. And I'm just curious, how long, when you take on a client, how long, what's that lifetime of a client with you? Is it months, years? Because I feel like people would probably stick with you for a pretty long time.
So my client who's been with me the longest, unless I'm forgetting somebody, is 17 years.
Wow.
And 10, I've got one that's moving. I've been with 10.
Okay.
I'm so sad. So yeah, I always say people don't leave. If they do, it's a break and they come back. And again, I don't mean that. I'm so blessed by that I get to be a part of people's lives and a part of their team, their coaching team, their medical team. I always know my place and my scope of practice, but I get to be a part of all of that. And I get to know them better than their doctor, better than they know themselves. And so people come back for that.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's because when I hear you talk, I just think, wow, she has a lot to offer and she can most likely always be able to take someone to the next step, right? Like there's not like a hard point where you get to, and you're like, okay, you're good. You're out of here. Yeah. There's always stuff to work on. So Lisa, where do people find you if they're interested in finding out, or stay on top of what might happen with the Berman Method in the next few months? How do they get a hold of you?
So my under renovation website there is something there, but I will be renovating my website. It's bermanfitness.com.
Okay.
Email is lisa@bermanfitness.com.
Awesome. That's BERMAN.
Yes. Thank you.
Great. Well, Lisa, thank you so much. This was very educational for me, and I'm excited to see what you come up with. And just keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, fitness fans, don't leave yet. This is Eric Malzone, your host, and I have an extremely special offer just for you. If you go to fitnessmarketingalliance.com/assessment, you can claim your complimentary digital marketing audit. Are you a modern fitness professional? Do you have some sort of online presence? Do you have a sneaking suspicion that your website is not performing optimally and therefore costing you money? Well, this is how you start to find out all the details. Just like fitness, you need to start with an honest and objective assessment. So go to fitnessmarketingalliance.com/assessment, fill out the form, and we will have it to you within 72 hours. It will cover your overall site performance, rank from 0 to 100, how you rank for your chosen keywords, so that's search engine optimization, your website traffic history over the last 6 months, so the ebbs and flows and what worked, what didn't, your website speed, which is highly relevant for people coming to your website and then bouncing off because it's working too slow, your social media presence, competitive analysis, and much, much more. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, but this is the starting point for building your online business. So please take advantage of it. We're offering it because we feel it's deeply important to you and the industry overall. And you can claim it by going to fitnessmarketingalliance.com/assessment. Do it today. Do it right now. Don't hesitate. This offer won't last forever. So thank you for listening. Greatly appreciate it. If you ever need to reach me, hit me up, Eric@fitnessmarketingalliance.com, and I'll be talking to you very, very soon.